Yo, YouTube, what up? How's it going? Osiris League Grand Finals, Big Boy Final, Best of 3, Round 1 is upon us. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Osiris League cast. We're gonna, once the cast starts, we're going into caster mode, just to let y'all know I might not pay attention to chat too much. And if you're new to Rise of Kingdoms, a lot of you guys have been telling me you're new to the game and enjoying the casts. This is for you guys. We are going to make sure we drill down everything you need to know about Ark of Osiris while this match is going on, from the beginning all the way to the end, explaining the rules, explaining everything along the way. Saw your chests? Well, yeah, I mean, it's not a secret, right? And speaking of which, we can really quickly go pick them up. It's not a secret. I've been buying Conqueror's Will every single day. Yeah, so you saw my chests. There you go. You can grab them, have some fun. Maybe you get something better than me. But anyway, this is actually kind of funny. Well, I shouldn't be telling you this, but whatever. Literally, 2 minutes before I start the freaking intro, my manager calls and he's like, yo, we need you on a meeting, like, ASAP. There is this crazy thing you gotta get on. And I'm like, oh, Lord, there goes our cast. I was on the meeting until 27 seconds left in the intro. And then they're like, okay, cool, that's all we need. I was like, oh, and I sat down. What up, everybody? So, Osiris League Season 4, Grand Final. This is for all the marbles. Well, not this, because this is game 1 of a best of 3 between two massive alliances for Osiris League. 60 GT from 9060, PX34 from 534, some XJWM, XUCS, I mean, sorry. Some XUCS against some XHKL. This match has all of it. It has some very powerful known players in this game, like Governor, like Ende, Tiger, and all of them. And on the other end, you have folks in PX34. I'm going to shout those guys out once we're on the match, because there's a lot of them in there as well. And so this match is going to be extremely interesting to see. We know one team might go a little bit more towards middle than the other one. We have seen how 60 GT made it in the last match. Well, it was a very, very, very close match. If you didn't see the match that happened, that got these guys here, it ended against JST very, very, very closely. It was less than 1,000, well, a little bit less than 1,000 points difference, and it went till the last moment. PX34 had an easier time against 94 VN, which is, it happens. 94 VN, New York Kingdom. 960 is not fair. They have a lot of veterans. JST were eliminated by 60 GT in a very, very tight match. Now, here is a small thing you should know. One of you beautiful people in the chat let me know that Governor in 60 GT gave up on the match a little bit early, and then once they started coming back, he's like went all in and crazy. All this says for you all guys is no matter what happens, you got to play till the end and not give up, because as you can see, 60 GT got through, but it was very, very dangerous. As a content creator, I think you have one of the best intro songs. Thank you. Did your Kingdom test Pakal as a rally lead against 636? Well, nobody wants to come out, so no. Those fights are over. Zeke here, what up? How's it going? Let's see what you guys are saying. What's up, Ross? Shots, $5 super chat. I don't know about shots. We're casting with Osiris League. Maybe after. We'll see. What's up, Nem? And who else we have here? Sign. How you doing, man? I love seeing those purple GGs, our veteran members in the area. What's up, Boom Raver? IMR. What's up, man? How's it going? Yalla, Habibi. How's it going, man? Go GT. Yeah, GT. 960 GT have a very, very tough task ahead of them, but it is doable. I kind of really hope, low-key, that this goes to a best of 3, so we get 3 awesome matches, but I can see it not going to a best of 3 if one of these teams gets a bit too overzealous. Espresso shot count. Homie, I had 3 espresso shots already. Don't you see how crazy I am? But I will take one at the end. I will take one at the end. And so here is where we stand right now. In a few moments, 3 minutes to go, the best of 3 starts. Is this best of 3 going to be a two match game? Probably not. And here's why. Realistically speaking, either one of these teams is going to not want to just give up on it, okay? The problem with this game mode is that it's very easy to get overconfident. And so I can probably guess that whoever wins today will not win the next match, and then the other team will adapt to the strategy and try to make changes. So I really hope that what we will see here is 2 completely different games today and next week, in which essentially everything changes. Because once you play one team one time, you can pretty much understand where your mistakes were and overcome it in the next match, which means in the Osiris League Grand Finals, you can't just show up with your A game. You need to show up with 2 A games, game 1 and then game 2. If not, then game 2 goes away. And we saw that very classically happening last best of 3 against OV versus 636. And so at the end of the day, I think that what we're going to see here is an insanely close match by both teams, and one will adapt against the other. And so my bet went all in on PX34. And the reason I went all in on PX34 is straight up odds. It's a game that can go either way, with veterans on both sides, with a lot of good timing and experience on both sides. This can go either way. But for a 4-for-1 return, I was like, or almost a 4-for-1 return, it was almost a no-brainer to bet on PX34. Betting on 60 GT will be ridiculously painful if there's an upset, and it will really not give you that much, honestly. If you're going to get, the distribution in here is just going to be nuts. You're going to get like maybe one quarter of a coin per one. So for a 2,000 bet, you get 500. That doesn't progress you too much. You can see I already made 230 coins just from being here. And so I don't know. It made sense to bet on PX34. Odds-wise, it makes a lot of sense. Match-wise, it makes a lot of sense. Realm of Anubis against Realm of Bassets. Funny enough, out of all of these realms, all of these realms are fairly new. Anubis was here previously, and so they are back in action. But this is the first Osiris League where no Realm of Horus on the Grand Finals. That's a thing. And now the veteran kingdoms, the old kingdoms, are going to have to figure out how they step it up. Although people are migrating to younger kingdoms, so that's kind of not fair. Huron of Steel, taken by squad. Nice, dude. We got some rewards. If PX34 wins, it's going to make me rich. It's going to give you about 8,000 coins, which should be enough to just clear about everything you want out of the shop, give or take. We would need about 8,000, 9,500, 10,100, 10,700, 11,010, 11,100-ish, something like that, to clear the shop entirely. So it might be doable from one bet, and that's that. Best caster in the game. What's up, Zero King? Thank you very much for the kind words. All right, boys and girls, once we go into casting mode, apologies for not replying to y'all, but it's about to go down. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Osiris League Grand Finals, final best of 3, match 1, 60 GT against PX34. And here we go, the team in blue and 60 GT versus the team in red. Shout out to everybody on here for some amazing performances, including a guy named Sam, 5 Sams, what do you know? On the other hand, you have the boys and ladies of PX34, massive folks like Mayo, like a bunch of other, like half of these people we have seen in Osiris League finals and whatever the heck not. So a very interesting match to come. Some of the key players for both teams about to pop on the screen. And let me explain a little bit to you all new players about Ark of Osiris, just in case you don't know what it is. Ark of Osiris is a game mode within Rise of Kingdoms that is completely different than the rest of Rise of Kingdoms. You get on a map that is a customized map for 60 minutes, and the name of the game is who can make the most points in the match. Whichever team makes the most points after 60 minutes, anyway, will be declared the Ark of Osiris winner. How do you get points? Fantastic question. 3 different ways to gain points. Number 1, occupy buildings. There are many different buildings on this custom map, which is a mirrored map. Therefore, both sides have the same buildings in the same configuration with the same distances and everything. By occupying buildings, you're going to gain points. By first occupying, you're going to get an awesome bonus. And after that, every minute you own a building, you're going to get points per minute. It's going to cost you between 2 to 3 minutes, 1 to 3 minutes to occupy a building. And once you've occupied it, you start gaining points. The name of the game in the building struck game is to get the other team's building. So if I say throughout the cast, the red team picked up the blue team's Shrine of War, it means that the red team took the Shrine of War that is supposed to be blue from the get-go. So this one right here is supposedly blue as it's on the blue side. The different buildings in this game are the outposts, Shrines of War, Shrine of Life, Obelisk, and Altar. There are 2 types of altars, and here we go. The Obelisk is the most important initial building. It's one of those buildings that you pick up at the very beginning as quickly as you can, because once it goes in your favor, you can teleport your city out from the starting zone all the way to this circle right here. Once you've done that, you've saved yourself about 1.5 minutes marching back and forth. This is a cheap building of only 20 points per minute. Its job is teleports. People want to grab that building early and hold on to it for at least for the first 30 minutes, because every few minutes you own the building, you're going to get more teleports for your team, so the whole team can teleport forward. The altars are the most important buildings in the game. They're the most points per minute buildings. There are 4 altars which have more than half of the points on the map. 1,180 points on the map. Each one of these is 150 points each, for a total of 600 points on 4 altars, Desert and Sky Altar. Finally, Shrine of War is a building that'll give you some awesome buffs on top of points. We're talking 5% attack and defense. And Shrine of Life, 25% healing speed. All you want at this point is gain your buildings. Beyond that, you can provision or gather points on the map through caravans. And finally, the last way to get points is on the Temple of Osiris, picking up the Ark of Osiris, which pops out in 11 minutes or so, and it's a big brawl. You'll see how it works. The first arc is worth 3,000 points, and every arc after that, another 500 points. And as the gates of hell have already opened, the teams have already started pouring out. Here we go. And so the first part of this match is all about grabbing the initial buildings. The team in blue is indeed doing that first, grabbing their outpost of Iset first and getting themselves a slight early lead. However, it doesn't look like they used hard push, which means they're going to have to wait a full 3 minutes for first occupations. It doesn't look like either team is looking to hard push early on. And so hard push is a skill that takes down 1 minute from occupation total. And so what teams tend to do in the very beginning is hard push so they can grab these buildings as quickly as possible, teleport as quickly as possible, and start off their fights. In this match, for the first time, I think in a very long time, we don't see a hard push in the very first minute of the game, which is different than the meta is currently dictating. So it's going to be an interesting one to see. The main buildings only open up in another 3 minutes or so. So priority right now is to grab all the buildings on the backline, the outposts and obelisks as quickly as possible. And in that scenario, the team in blue started ahead, but the team in red have now picked up all their 3 outposts and their obelisks. And the team in blue is yet to grab that forward outpost. This is something they did the last match too. That last building took a little bit longer for them to occupy. So it's going to be interesting to see how things pan out, because every second that they don't own the building, it's going to be a small extra lead for the team in red, whose timer on their final outpost is now a half a minute ahead of the one on the outpost of Iset in blue. So the early stage looks like a small W for the team in red. Nothing very serious. The next point in this match is going to be the movement towards the main buildings. And what people tend to do usually is what you're about to see: a major push towards each other's desert altar in an attempt to first occupy each other's desert altars early on. The team in blue is already gunning it there that way, and so is the team in red, right back there on their way to a outpost, to a desert altar. So far, game is looking pretty even, pretty standard cookie cutter Ark of Osiris type of match, except for the fact that no hard push was procced in the early stages. It's going to be a really interesting thing to see how they utilize these different skills, what they've changed in their meta. Maybe they're waiting for the big buildings to pop that so they have a little bit more time, and then if they take an enemy's building that still exists, I don't know. But one of the most common things in Ark, by the way, which you're seeing right here, is having a rally that is a transport rally. This pretty decently fast Guan is probably carrying a garrison captain with it, and its job is just to move up on the field and bring a bunch of marches in. You can see the red marches are already gunning it towards this taxi arc, because what they're trying to do is they want to try to find that garrison captain and get rid of it. Is this garrison captain in here? The answer is no. There was no garrison captain in this rally. So it was a straight fighting rally. Maybe the folks in 60 GT recognized PX34, go for the for the garrison captains are in early stage, and they adapted extremely well. A lot of infantry on the field against the more common push by everybody, which is a cavalry push, a quicker push towards the field. C+ unfortunately got caught with a Jadwiga Attila, which was supposed to be the Desert Altar's garrison in an attempt to grab the garrison, and that is no longer the case. So there is not going to be, in theory, a garrison in here by PX34, and 60 GT are pushing them back hard. They're not letting them anywhere near the Desert Altar. On the other side, the team in blue is already on the Desert Altar of the red team, and there is 15 seconds until this gets open. Let's keep an eye in here and see if the blue team can snatch this red Desert Altar, as the red team doesn't seem to be in a good position to grab the blue team's Desert Altar. Here we go. 2 Jadwigas in the scene. They're trying to grab their building. Buildings unlock, and who grabs it? Red team grab their Desert Altar and their enemy's Desert Altar in a crazy turn of events. These guys were not here a second ago, and now they are, and they do grab a Desert Altar away from the blue team. Blue team does take a Shrine of Life away from the red team. That is very true, but I would trade those shrines, the shrine for an altar, any day of the week. This Takeda garrison is not going to hold. The guys in here now are just going to try to get in. Jadwiga on the scene looks a little bit better, but there's still too little in here and way too many blue marches. The red marches outside should be getting in the building, but they are not, and instead, boom goes the dynamite. There is the garrison captains coming in to secure their own building back, and you might think that this was a complete waste, but for PX34, what they did is they delayed the occupation of the Desert Altar. The Desert Altar is a 2 minutes and 47 seconds for the team in blue, while the red one is at 2 minutes. However, it might go down. The red team is not paying attention to their building. Their building looks a little bit weak, but that could also be a full building just with low health. You got to keep an eye on that building. Do not let it go, red team, or else you might be in big trouble. Chat, if you're enjoying the cast, of course, don't forget to slap a like on it and hit that subscribe down below. If you're new to the channel, appreciate all of you who chose to watch us today. And here we go. So, buildings are so far how they should be. The map is evenly divided as it should be. However, advantage does go to the team in red, who have their Desert Altar a little bit earlier, and therefore they will start gaining points from it a little bit earlier. However, the offset of that is the fact that they are a bit behind on the Shrine of Life. So when everything is done, it should be about an even match when things start going crazy. Is Pakal useful here? I do not think so, no. I think that Pakal came out after this mode exists and came out, and therefore it's not in the list. With that being said, I might be completely wrong, and we might start seeing some Pakals, but the fact that I don't see it on the field, or CJ tells me that they're not there. With that being said, a minute left on the Desert Altar that is very well secured by the team in red. PX34 starting strong. They delayed the Desert Altar quite well for the folks in 60 GT, who are down by about just a little bit over under 50 points. Not a big deal. Not the worst part at all. And so, the match now needs to get to the point where buildings start getting secured. In the meantime, rallies are being set by both teams, 2 on each. And guess what? On the red side, it's all about the altars. On the blue side, they're actually gunning for what looks like, is that a Shrine of Life? What is this? Yeah, they're gunning for the Shrine of Life. They're gunning for the bottom side more than for the building-specific rallies. There is no garrison in PX34's Desert Altar, which is a little weird considering, I mean, you'd think they'd have a garrison in here. Probably a garrison captain did not get changed. A little bit of trouble. That building could go down if it stays like that. But 6 seconds remain. First occupation bonuses are about to drop. And when that happens, I mean, things are gonna start getting interesting. Here we go. Building secured. Look at the points as they go up. Red team in a little bit of a lead because the blue team still has not finished securing all their buildings. Neither has the red team. By the end of all of this, we should be about even with a middle fight coming in about 4 minutes. And there's already presence in the middle by both teams. The red team posturing towards the blue side, and I actually don't really like where they're standing. I think that if you are a team that's going to show up early to try to get this real estate, you really want to be where the blue team is instead of where the red team is. Because what's going to happen here is the blue team is just going to push this back towards the Temple of Osiris once the timer goes down. And the distance is so small that you're not going to get too much out of them marching. And the idea of pushing forward is when the other team starts marching their way down towards the Temple of Osiris, they are marching, not hitting you. And that's the time where you can hit them, pretty much only take counter damage. And so Staying in here is not very helpful for PX34. It will not make as big of a difference because you'll see once the timer gets a little bit closer, all of these marches are just going to start pouring down. Buildings are pretty even. The score, 130 points in the favor of the red team, which is what we expected to see at the end of all this shebang. And so, now, what's left is to look at the rallies and to wait for the middle fights. Rally on the Desert Altar, on the Sky Altar, didn't seem too successful. The Desert Altar rally, on the other hand, is looking decent, but again, as the health popped up, we realized that Cyrus Nebu, which is a fantastic rally, by the way, against Zenobia, was not doing too good, probably because of a little bit of weakness in the reinforcements, or a couple of things going on in there. Blue team is posturing now towards middle. They don't even care about anything right now. There's one rally by the blue team, two by the red one, and the problem here is that both teams are extremely even. What does this mean? It means that whoever grabs the Ark is going to get what's called a clean advantage. A clean advantage is an advantage in which essentially the two teams are even, and therefore whoever grabs the Ark gains an advantage. There are two types of other advantages or attempts on an Ark. A massive advantage, we'll call it that, because you're winning the points per minute game and you're also getting an Ark. And there's also the catch-up Ark, where you're losing the points per minute game, but you offset those points with an Ark of Osiris capture. Right now, because the game is even, this Ark is going to be extremely important for either side. But with 46 minutes remaining, there's still plenty of time for the buildings game. Speaking of, there is PX34. Interesting play with that bog down, slowing down the team in blue for coming down and hitting even further. That bog down actually came out after the team in blue procced their skills, but to slow them down even further. But it doesn't seem, it does a nice change. It's an interesting concept to do. However, as you can see, a minute left in this arc situation, and both teams are already duking it fairly close to the Temple of Osiris. The blue team is going to keep pushing this down further. At this scenario, it's impossible to tell you who is winning. What you should pay attention to is the frownies. So far, we are seeing a little bit more red frownies than blues. Definitely a lot more red frownies than blues now, as a 5-4, 6-4 went down in there. Definitely a lot better middle situation for the team in blue than the team in red. And they are in a deep, deep trouble. Red team just got pushed out of middle. Skills wasted, energy wasted, everything wasted, and they don't even have their slight advantage, which is less than 130 points at this point, is not going to hold very long if they're not, obviously they're going to lose this middle. In a reaction, though, the red team has started pushing a little bit on the buildings of the blue team. The best scenario happens when you come into an Ark take while owning the points per minute game, because then, you know, you're going to town on them. Either you lose the Ark, but it's just an evening point, or you gain a massive lead, and that's that. In this scenario, big advantage to the team in blue right now. 44 minutes remaining in the match. This match is not over by any means of the imagination whatsoever. PX34, I don't know what you're watching, but this is not PX winning the middle at all. This is the folks in 60 GT. I keep calling them Go GT. 60 GT are doing their thing. They got the Ark. They're bailing out of here. Hero is trying to slow that down. If he takes the Ark carrier down, it's another 10-second delay, as you got to pick up the Ark, which takes 10 seconds, and then go there. On top of that, we have this scenario, pretty much nothing that can be done by the blue team, and so by the red team. And so the Ark is just marching its way home. Blue team now falling back to make sure they defend their buildings, which they have done successfully. And just like that, the match is extremely even, with a 3,000 point lead about to come in the favor of the team in blue. And so at this point, what do you do? There are a couple of options for the team in red. The primary option is really they got to keep the pressure on the buildings game against the team in blue, because right now they've realized that middle is going to be insanely hard to win. It is not an impossible thing to do, but it is indeed an insanely hard thing against the folks of 60 GT. 60 GT, knowing that they won the middle fairly successfully, are about to go forward, and a hard push was procced right now. What does that mean? It means this. It means that the folks in red are about to go to town. The folks in red are about to go to town, and so are the folks in blue. It is about that time to start just rallying, taking buildings, and try to close down this gap. The team in blue can have an option of holding this Ark of Osiris. Holding the Ark means that you're not going to deliver it and you're just going to sit with it for as long as that timer is going. If that timer hits 0 and you did not deliver the Ark successfully, the Ark goes back to the Temple of Osiris and has a minute timer until it comes back. For the team in blue, they know they have this 3 points in the 3,000 points in the bag, and they're now aggressing on the open field. They know that they are winning middle very comfortably. So for them, delivering this Ark has to be a priority because the more Arks, the better as far as a winning middle is concerned. PX34, on the other hand, are suffering some pressure. Now that the middle was taken, all these middle players rotated through the middle and into the Desert Altar and the Shrine of War of the team in red, who are now going to need a lot more garrison and a lot more attention on their own buildings. While that's happening, the team in blue is also rallying the Sky Altar, but this rally looks to be very unsuccessful as the team in red is here to defend it, and the Shrine of War, which is getting aggressed on as well, looks to be very well secured. So far, with the exception of the first occupation hand change that happened there on the Desert Altar up on the top, no team has taken a building from the other one. I'll take that back. Slight exception. The team in red did take an outpost away from the team in blue for about 2 seconds and then took it back. But anyway, big rally coming out here by 60 GT. If they take this Desert Altar, this is trouble for PX34. PX34 have a whole 41 minutes left in the match. So it's not like this is over. It's not like this is the end, even if they lose this Desert Altar. But it is being a leg down in a situation where they're already behind because of the 3,000 points on the Ark. It looks like the team in blue has chosen to take the Ark further out. They're not going to put it in the Shrine of War as quickly as they can, but rather they're going to carry it home and probably hold on to it. We'll see as time goes on if this is a good decision or not. Now, PX34 also enabling their hard push. Here comes 60 GT. 60 GT have hard push enabled, which means this Desert Altar's timer is going to be extremely low. They're about to take it. A march comes in here to save the day. For a split second, that one march that made it in was just enough for more marches to get here, but they need to get in the building and to get in them now, and there's another join. Wow, that was close. One guy who came in just in the last second and held for just another moment allowed more people to come in here, and this Desert Altar that seemed lost for the team in red just looks so much better now. It's not over just yet. The team in red need to keep paying attention and reinforcing the building. They need to swarm this rally away, and then the open field situation. The problem is the open field situation is getting worse and worse and worse, and the building is not going to get a break. This could be dangerous for the team in red. The team in blue right now with a massive presence on this Desert Altar, which is extremely low, but it is holding nonetheless. Ark of Osiris successfully escorted is what we expected. 8-minute timer, and the next Ark is already on its way. Chat, if you're enjoying the stream, don't forget to slap a like on it. Hit that subscribe down below if you're new to the channel. We do this, and we do this well. As y'all can see, for me, Ark of Osiris is the best time because we get to cast some awesome fights. With that being said, the team in blue seems to have been pushed back. The rally is still here, but the guys in red are now here, and they're fairly well present. And while that's going on, they're trying to take a Sky Altar, but very unsuccessful with it. They're also defending their own Sky Altar up on the top, but they're not really. Big problems. Nobody is in here, and there's a rally and a big swarm. This building is going down, and it's going down quick. They need more marches in here. There's another garrison captain on her way, but can she make it in time? It doesn't look like she can, and boom! First building flips. 60 GT take a Desert Altar away from PX34, and a 150 point lead begins. Every single moment now, the team in blue is gaining a bigger lead, which is already a 3,000 point lead. It is going to be trouble for the team in red to come back into this, but 39 minutes remaining. There's plenty of time. Do not worry. Blue team, though, need to hold on to this building. 34 seconds for occupation. They used hard push, which means it's not a 2-minute occupation. It's a 1-minute occupation. Big problem for PX34, who are going to have to figure out how they get back into this, and very quickly. Buildings blinking everywhere. Shrine of War secured. No blue team taking the Shrine of War for now. Sky Altar secured. No red team taking it. Red team taking a cheeky outpost, though. That's kind of nice. That's better than nothing. But blue team now with a rally that's getting swarmed, and the building looks very well secured. Red team needs to react, and they're doing that on the Desert Altar of the blue team. There's massive presence by the blue team here, though, and they are swarming the rally, which is the correct thing to do, with as many debuffers and buffers around as humanly possible. Once that rally goes down, the open field swarm is going to come in, and when that happens, Jadwiga is probably going to come back into the scene. And so with the only building flipping hands being this Sky Altar right here, which now has a garrison and is ticking for points for the team in blue. Team in blue, oh boy, they are way ahead. 250 points every single, 250 points every single minute for the team in blue. Big trouble. How did we get to 250? I don't know, but what I can tell you is that the red team also lose their Shrine of Life, and that is, again, another point per minute differential for the team in blue, who are about to take it in 35 seconds. That'll give them even a bigger lead than their 200 point per minute lead right now. The reason there is not all these points on the map, in case you don't know this, is because not all buildings are occupied. The red team took away a desert altar from the blue team, though. That's a great hit right there. I did not think that was going to work, but it did. PX34 managing to take away a desert altar away from the team in blue makes their pain a bit softer, as 150 points were taken away from the table of PX34, who were 350 points in the lead, but now they are less than that. They're still gaining every single minute. So the team in red is going to really have to figure out how they stop this bleeding, which is almost a 4,000 point lead for the team in blue. Now here's the pickle. There was an Ark carry in the process. Ark is popping in 4 minutes and 50 seconds. This is a 3,500 point Ark. If the red team take this Ark, we're back to square one. The problem for the red team is that they're running out of time to even out the points per minute game before going into the middle. If and only if they manage to stabilize before going into the middle, this is going to be a good morale boost for the team in blue. They're in red. If they don't manage to stabilize their building game and go to middle and lose that middle too, oy vey, that is going to be extremely tough to come back from. But nothing's over just yet. This is when the team in red need to dig in with all their experienced players and all their knowledge and just do it. Just do it. Make sure that you don't lose composure. Make sure that you allow clean, crisp comms. One of the most, as an Osiris League player, someone who made it to a grand finals in season 2, and someone who's been in teams that made it to the playoffs plenty of times, I can tell you that the worst thing that can happen in this situation right now for PX34 is two things. Number one, comms going crazy, people going, what the hell are you doing? Blah, 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 blah. There's all of those who get really upset at dumb mistakes. And the second thing is when people start panicking. When people start panicking, that's a big problem. And so at this point, PX34, Wusa, get back into this. You guys have the experience and knowledge. While you do lose the desert altar you took away from 60 GT, the points per minute lead is massive. 580 points every single minute for 60 GT. PX34 losing their desert altar too. Oy vey. And it's ticking for points now for the team in blue. Oh my goodness gracious. 610 points every single minute for the team in blue. Now guess what? Red team can take this Ark. Blue team shouldn't even bother. And they still are. But if they don't, it's a 3,500 point close down, which would make it a 600 point game. The problem is every single minute that goes by, the blue team is just stacking points, and they're about to get another 150 points every single minute. So on top of the 610, they are now going down to, thank God. What changed here? What changed here? Nothing. Okay, time out. One building changed. What changed? The Shrine of Life went back into the red team, so that's a good start. But their two altars are not in their hands. What are you going to do? Fight an Ark while losing 600 points per minute just for altars alone? That is extremely hard to deal with. In an Ark situation that is perfect, the number one thing you should know is that it takes about, if you have nothing going on, it takes about 2 minutes-ish, give or take, to make it all the way to the closest building if you're just straight marching it, T1s, fastest march, all that good stuff. Which means there's going to be 1,200 points more being gained for the team in blue just waiting for the red team to carry the Ark. So there's actually no real reason, if they manage to delay this even further, which, by the way, they are, it's just going to be tougher and tougher. Red team, though, huge pickup. Stabilize the buildings just before the middle fight begins and stop the bleeding. In a bit, those two altars they picked up back are going to close down in their favor and back into their hands, and then those 300 point lead is going to be gone. And so right now, PX34 composing 5,000 point difference, and they're in the middle. This is becoming a little bit better for them. And here we go. Middle fight is about to go down. War drums being procced, to the death being procced as well. Everybody and their grandma is going to drop every single skill right now because this is crucial. This is going to be the big boy, but only one to the death procced. Only 1 to the death proc. This is bad news. Blue team is getting 2-1 traded right now, 3-1 traded, and it's not looking too pretty, but there's still plenty of time. 5-1 trade, 5-2, 5-3 trade. Oh boy, that is 6-5, 7-5. The tables have turned. 7-5, 7-6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh my goodness. 13, 14, 15. I even lost count, but there's now definitely more red frownies than there were blue. Earlier, the blue frownies were dominating, but now it looks like the blue team is firmly in here. Let's zoom out a little bit so we can see the red and blue dots and see how bad the situation is. And I'm seeing a lot of blues and very little reds. The red team is really pushed back into the desert and into the Temple of Osiris. And here come the red team, the blue team yet again with a grinder of a middle. The Ark is about to pop in 15 seconds. The points per minute evened out when the team in blue is about 5,300 points in the lead. The problem is a 3,500 point Ark is on its way. And Lord, have mercy on us all, because things are getting really tough for the team in red. This might just be a blowout, but even if it is, I urge you to stick around through the cast, because if it is a blowout, we're going to analyze the match. I'm going to give you guys a few tips and tricks and tell you exactly what went wrong on the timings, because I can tell you exactly where things went bad for PX34. And believe it or not, while they are taking a Desert Altar, which is extremely important, and they might just get it, this is going to be very close. This March is going to make it in. So at least a little bit more of a delay for the team in blue. The more they delay, the better it is, because every single minute that goes by, they're gaining more points. But this March did not go into the building, or did it? Nope, it's still there. Building taken by the team in red. That is a little bit of a relief, but look at the middle team of the blue team. They're like, nah, you taking our Desert Altar? I don't think so. And they're about to come in here and just grab their building back momentarily. In the meantime, FUVIP18 is in the house and, well, trying to kill off his garrison so he can get back here as quickly as possible. Middle team, securing the Ark, are now making their way slowly and steadily to the destination. Looks like the Desert Altar is not their destination. The building was taken back without the middle team. There were a bunch of folks in here, and they just took out PX34. Now, Mayo is... Amond, sorry, is standing here? Question mark? Exclamation point? What the heck? All right, well, while that's going on, the blue team carrying the Ark back home, they know that all they got to do is they got to carry the Ark and just get it in again and again. They have the middle. They know they have the middle. And now they're coming to be a pain in the butt for the red team. The number one issue with a middle loss is that majority of the time, the middle players end up doing what the blue team is doing. And that is, we're already here, we might as well go to buildings, right? But the red team, or the team that loses, doesn't necessarily pay attention to that kind of stuff. And those who lost in the middle early on are on their way towards the middle rather than towards the other parts of this match. In the meantime, I mean, if you're going to send archers in a cavalry rally, it is probably not going to work unless this is a crazy mixed rally we've never seen before. And this is the signal that PX34 are in tilt mode. For you to send archers in a cavalry rally means that tilt mode is on. Someone was not even paying attention. And this is the kind of silly mistake that costs teams full matches and placements in arcs. Now, 60 GT's rally is here, and the open field, nicely enough, was taken care of by the team in red. They recognized what I mentioned, that the middle team of the blue team are going to come in. They brought in the defense. The defense has secured their own building. They're about to rally. They're about to swarm this rally up and then go up towards the blue buildings to try to get something back. The Shrine of Life just exchanged back hands, but it was on the blue team's hands for a little while. 5,000 point lead for the team in blue, 80 points per minute, and an Ark that is about to be delivered. Chat, if you're enjoying the stream, don't forget to slap a like on it. Hit that subscribe down below if you're new to the channel. While the match might be a little bit of a blowout, the cast is still going to continue, because at the end of the day, we're here to be not only informative, but also a little bit more informative, and hope you guys enjoy the cast. Here's the Ark. Metal. Here's the rally. Metal was here. Was Metal the archer? I have no idea. But the rally disappeared, obviously. Hopefully they didn't actually hit, because that would have been a complete waste. But nonetheless, PX34, full tilt mode, big problem. 28 minutes remaining in the match, and this Sky Altar is looking a little weak, and there's a Danic Trajan coming in, which is going to be very, very helpful. But he's standing right next to the rally, which means every time the AoE procs, this man is going to take a big hit. There is no AoE left anymore because apparently there's a Cao Cao garrison? The Cao Cao garrison is a thing. Is that, I don't know. Well, there's the Ark carrier, Pearl. There's the garrison captain, Pearl and Bunny. They're trying to dip out of here. And they can't. They tried to suicide their own garrison captains to go back home really quickly, but they couldn't even get that done. And so one of them came back in. The other one is now trying to suicide to get out and come back. And there is open field pressure coming in from the folks in PX34 who should be recognizing this as a good point. While that's going on, Desert Altar, though, flips hands. Red team grabbed the blue Desert Altar, and now they're putting in the pressure. However, there is 10 minutes until the Ark gets delivered, and the team in blue are about to deliver it for 3,500 points, which is going to make this a 7,000 point match. However, there is 27 minutes remaining. The next Ark is 4,000 points. We have seen situations like in the last match where JST won the middle a couple of times, and then the folks in 60G, was it backwards? Last match, forget which side, don't judge me. One of the teams picked up 2 Arks, and at the last Ark, the other team managed to beat them to win the match by taking this Ark, the last Ark away. So while you guys might be already leaving, I can see some of you are like, yeah, this is over. This is not over by any means of the imagination. If an Ark is taken by the team in red, everything goes back to 13 to less than a 1,000 point lead for the team in blue. So not yet. It's not over just yet. However, if PX34 lose the next middle, that is going to be game over. 26 minutes remaining means that PX34 still have the ability to try to come back into this, but they're not going to be able to do that if they're going to lose their own buildings every single time. So far, PX34 have been pushed hard by 60 GTU, who seem to be the dominating team in this Osiris League Grand Final. Pearl trying to make it back here as quickly as possible with a garrison captain. Can this building flip hands? It was almost there earlier, and now it is being resecured. The team in blue coming in here big time. And, I mean, the red team has a bunch of marches trying to swarm the life out of this, and there's still a rally on its way here, and a carrying rally as well. So there are more marches coming in for this siege on the Sky Altar, but while they're sieging the Sky Altar, their own Desert Altar is taken out, and that is a huge problem. Now, granted, they did take the enemy's Desert Altar, so that's a little bit of an offset. And in this particular scenario, I'm going to guess that the Sky Altar might exchange hands. 60 GT might lose this Sky Altar. There's a big rally hitting it, and there's reinforcements for the rally in here as well. So Sky Altar might go back in favor of the red team, but they don't own a single altar right now. And it's not only that they don't own a single altar. Oh boy, a little bit of a cheeky play. Red team grabbed the obelisk away from the blue team. However, let's see if the red team makes the biggest mistake of their game. If they kill this Ark carrier and pick up the Ark, it is game over. If the red team kill the Ark carrier and pick up the Ark, it is game over. And I'll explain that if they do it, and if they don't, I'll explain it anyway as soon as the Ark is carried, just for the sake of keeping it interesting. Now, Sky Altar is red. Congratulations. The problem is you have 3 other altars that are blue, and guess what? You're losing by 300 points every single minute on top of a almost 6,000 point lead for the team in blue. So what on earth are they going to do now? PX34 can grab this obelisk away and actually occupy it. Once they do, there is space to teleport on this side, which can cause a little bit of problems for the team in blue if the red team teleports up here. Because now there's going to be people coming from all sides. Shout out to Ende, ex-King of K2, probably coming back sometime soon. Both Kings of K2 in here. And big plays by all these players who know they need to get their obelisk back, and they got to do it quick. This was a quick snatch. This was a 1 march, roaming around, trying to pick up whatever it can, and it is in the building right now. There are marches coming in here to try to be a pain in the butt for this obelisk, but they're coming in a bit too late. While that's going on, though, the game evened itself out on the altar department. Both altars are in the red side, and there's 2 for the blue team, but there's also fights on the 2 blue ones, which the Desert Altar fairly well secured, and the blue and the Sky Altar very well secured as well. So far, it's looking good for the team in blue. Team in red trying to stop the pain, but it's just not going away. 330 points every single minute for the team in blue. Looks like this match might find itself very quickly over. But again, 23 minutes remaining, 1 more arc to go. I'm holding on to the hope that maybe PX34 are not going to lose us all of our coins, but even if they do, we try again next week, because that's how it goes. Gamblers' problems right there. obviously, this is the time where PX34 need to give it everything. What they need to do right now is they need to get the buildings and they need to get an Ark. The problem is in their timing. Take a look at this. The blue team very smartly recognizing, or at least I'm giving them credit for doing it, very smartly recognized that their timing is a little bit off. They've lost 2 buildings. They own the Ark. They can deliver the Ark whenever the heck they want, but whenever they do that, it is going to reset the Ark timer, and that means it's going to dictate the pace of the match. What they're seeing right now is a pretty big siege coming for the Shrine of War, as the team in red managed to get a desert altar and keep pushing up. Now the team in blue is doing 2 things. First of all, they're going to try to even out the points per minute game back and at least get a better favor. The reason it's not in their favor, well, it stays in their favor for now, is that they own they own 3 of the altars. The team in blue want to maintain a huge lead, only then secure the Ark, and then go to middle while they have this lead in the points per minute. For the team in blue, this is no time to think they're winning this because they're 7,000 points ahead. The Ark is indeed still in their hands, and they know that as long as they own the Ark, no one else can get those points. And as long as they're winning the points per minute game, every single minute that goes by, they keep gaining their lead, which is almost 7,000 points right now. They're in no rush to go back to middle. They're in no rush to deliver Arks. They're in no rush to anything. They just need to defend the buildings. That's it. And so this is a double whammy problem for PX34. They cannot get their own buildings, and the Ark is being hogged. It's not being delivered. Big trouble. Big trouble. At this point, 21 minutes remaining in the match. PX34's lights are starting to shut down one by one. It doesn't mean this is over just yet, but the probability of coming out of this ahead for the red team is very small, and with every second that goes by, the probability of them coming back into this goes down drastically. And so with less than a sliver of health left in the 60 GT Sky Altar take that is supposed to be red, the red team take their Sky Altar back. They slow down the pain by a little bit, 150 points in 150 points in the lead for the blue team, and that is because there is one altar that hasn't secured yet for the team in red, and once that happens, they're back to even. And this is the timing rotation that the blue team recognized. They recognize that they're about to lose back into an even situation. What they want to do right now is they want to hold the Ark for another minute or so. They're going to reposition, recall all their marches, reset. Once they do that, they're going to deliver the Ark, send the rallies, take buildings, go home, get their middle set up, and win the game. And so I would be, if I'm a gambling man, I would say within a minute and 20 seconds, we'll see the Ark getting delivered. And then we will see a massive siege on the red buildings by the blue team. The massive siege on the red buildings could be happening ahead of the Ark delivery. They might deliver the Ark only after they take the buildings to put even more pressure on the team in red. And so Shrine of Life taken away is a good start. It does put them back in the lead by about 80 points, even though they're more than that because there's still buildings that haven't closed into the red team's hands to give them the points, more particularly the 150 points that come from the altar. Chat, if you're enjoying the cast, don't forget to slap a like on it, hit that subscribe down below, and of course, if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, I keep an eye on the chat, but we're in caster mode right now, at least for another few minutes. If this match goes out of hand and the blue team indeed does what I'm saying they're going to do, then we're going to go into Q&A and kind of give you guys a little bit more of a breakdown of how things went down and why this happened. And here it is. Hard push by PX34. They know they need buildings. And so the blue team, just like I had mentioned, are now going to put the pressure on the red team's buildings. They want to try to get to start this before the Ark is delivered. And once they do that, the timer resets and all the timing of everything works out in the favor of the blue team. Why? They're going to take a building. They're going to lose all their marches in the process. While their marches are coming back, they're going to deliver the Ark, and they're going to have enough time to get themselves back into middle with full power. And so here's the siege on the red desert altar and on the sky altar simultaneously, which is what we expected at this point. The red team, on the other hand, is trying to do the same exact thing, but the problem is, even if they switch buildings, it still works out in the favor of the blue team. So the red team is in trouble because they don't only have to siege and take buildings away from the blue team, they actually need to make sure they take care of their own. And so a good pickup is the Shrine of War away from the blue team, but the blue team in return take a sky altar away from the red team. And so the Ark delivery should be happening now any moment, as the points per minute lead is in favor of the blue team, I'm assuming as soon as this desert altar goes down, a minute left on that arc is a little close. Trust me when I tell you, you do not want to get to the point where you're waiting till the very last moment. All you need is for the arc carrier to disconnect randomly, which happens 30 seconds before the arc is delivered, and you're toast. So 60 GT bringing this arc very close. They might not even deliver it. They might just leave it be and then go pick it up again. That could be a situation. As picking up the arc, once this timer runs down, there's only a minute until the arc is populated back. Arc carrier is taking his time. The arc is not being delivered. They are taking it to the last moment. And if that goes down, that's going to be a big, big problem if they don't pick it up. However, I mean, hello, blue team, you guys are getting it's a little bit, they're getting a little too close to that zero to my comfort. There is the arc delivery, 8 minutes and 15 seconds. And I was a little bit off on the timings, but it was because it took them a little bit longer to take the buildings. Once they took the buildings, see that? All the blue buildings, delivered the arc. Also, they had 30 seconds to do it. So, I mean, there's not too much time left. And so with the arc delivery done, the points lead is now over 10,000. And for the team in blue, this is a W. The reason this is a W and the match is over is fairly simple. Even if the red team now take an arc, this will close them down to a 7,000 point deficit. There are 16 minutes remaining in the match, which means they're going to need over 700 point lead. More than that, they're going to probably need like a 400 point lead every single minute just to catch back up with the team in blue. And to make matters worse, they've never been in the lead in the points per minute. As a matter of fact, the blue team keeps gaining a lead, 600 points every single minute. Now, we can definitely call this a match because there's simply just no way out. And this will leave some time for you guys to ask questions, comments, anything like that. I know a majority of you guys are going to be like, yeah, this match is over. Close the cast and leave. Before you do that, though, I'd appreciate if you drop a like on the stream and hit that subscribe down below. 840 beautiful people watching this cast. I'm definitely sure y'all can hit that 300 likes if you choose to do so. And so we're going to keep casting it a little bit, but I do want to open the floor for you guys to ask questions and any comments, anything I can do to make your viewing experience a little bit better, a little bit more understandable. I would love to help you out with anything we can. So if there are no questions, we'll do a little bit of an analysis on what happened here and explain to you exactly why 60 GT won this match from pretty much the moment it started. OP Arc team. Yep. Can you see if 60 GT also has farming or no? They definitely have provisioners. They definitely have provisioners. I can tell you that much. I know for a fact they have provisioners. So even if you would say, you know, the blue team isn't provisioning and the red team is, even in that scenario, a 12,000 point gap is going to be extremely hard to close. But I know that the folks in 60 GT have gatherers. Okay, you can see them right there. They're all over the place. Explain what could have happened if GT lost that arc. Perfect, not a problem. So if 60 GT lost that arc, okay, we would have had a situation in which an arc would have already popped, right? In this scenario, what would happen is it would be a shift in momentum. Why is that a shift in momentum? Because first and foremost, it's a blow for the team in blue losing an arc. When that happens, that means that all of the blue marches are going home. And all of the red marches should still be somewhere in here or in here, do it after the fight, right? And so for them to now make it out this way and this way is fairly easy with the marches that they have remaining in the middle. And in that scenario, it's going to create a situation where the red team would take the lead in who picks who sets the timing. What you need to understand about Ark of Osiris, and this is the number one tip I have for y'all, is that one team is the team that is the one leading the momentum, is the one that's dictating the pace, and the other team is the one that is essentially reacting to it. For the team in blue to take that arc would have mean that the red to take that arc would have been a potential shift in the timings. The thing that happened here is that PX34 did not get to control the time, the match ahead of time. The team which is crazy because they did take a desert altar away from 60 GT early on, but just couldn't maintain the defense. And as soon as they started losing more and more buildings to 60 GT, that's when 60 GT took the timing to their own hands. They dictate when the arcs are going to come out, when their rallies are coming out, what kind of defense there is. And they also dictate what time does the red team have to counter attack. Because if they dictate when they attack, that means that the blue team can only attack, the red team can only attack once the blue team hasn't anymore. This Sky Altar flipped hands every single time it needed to. And so for 60 GT, the Sky Altar is 150 points every single minute that they've pretty much owned most of the match. And if not, they definitely made sure for most of the match that the red team wouldn't have it. So that's a big, big point. The number one factor in Ark of Osiris, again, is whose timing is the one that counts. And sometimes, just so you know, and this is a pointer for those of you trying to make it to Osiris League Season 4, okay? Season 5. Replying to your enemy's timing is not necessarily always the best choice. Most teams who lose their own buildings end up reaching a point where they lose their own buildings and don't gain anything in return. I've said this many a times. If you see that the other team is pushing down on your building and you have the capability of pushing into their own, trade buildings. If you take your enemy's building while they take yours, all's good. The problem that happens in most teams is that when they lose their own building, they focus back on gaining their own rather than on maintaining their offensive position. And in most cases where your own building is taken away, there isn't that much left on the field. And majority of the time, those folks are going to have to go home or suicide somehow. In that window of opportunity, you have the ability to push. So if two teams meet, the number one most important thing to realize is that at the end of the day, you can either fight on either team's terms or you can pass each other, take each other's building away, and now the timing remains evened out. And so there is a very big problem in the mentality of our play, which that includes me and includes my teams and the teams that I've played with, which is exactly that. You take your own buildings and you think having your own buildings is more important than taking your opposition's buildings. That is actually not true. Taking the opposition's building is actually more important than holding on to your own. Crazy thought, right? Because then you make sure that once they take yours and you take theirs, well, now you guys are going to switch to try to take your own back. And so the moment you don't take your opposition's building, but they take yours, that's when they start dictating the pace. Because now you're trying to fight your own building back. And while you're doing that, they're trying to do something else on the map. Middle fight is going on. Not that this would matter. The red team finally pushing forward enough so that this middle fight is actually further out on the Temple of Osiris as it should be. This is where middle fights should be happening on either side. This far out, not as close as they previously were. Look at how different the line is now. And this requires PX34 again to the death and everything they can. They're going to try to save face by grabbing one arc, but the blue team ain't going to let that happen. They own the points per minute game by a long mile, 610 points every single minute, and there is more points coming in. There are more points coming in. Another 150 in a few moments will go for the blue team. Blue team is losing a bunch of marches, though, so this might be a mid-take for the red team. They might manage to save a little bit of face by grabbing this arc. Sam. Yeah, I was right. Makes it to the Temple of Osiris, past all this red clump, and now Sam can now be a pest. If he picks up the arc ahead of the red team, that's 10 seconds that they're going to get, and he can start marching it his way. This whole thing does not work when there's someone down here. And so PX34 are going to need to really quickly get rid of Sam, or else we have a problem. Especially if Sam picks up the arc. And yes, I am going to count it because his name is too funny. Anyway, let's take a look at what else is going on. This middle fight is actually the PX34s to save some face. 15,000 point difference. And this is a 4,000 point arc will mean, well, maybe they managed to close it down to below a 10,000 point differential. Can you see the individual scores of the blue team? Yeah. Everybody and their grandma obviously above 10,000, including what is VIP 18 who is gathering. And it looks like there is 15 of them, half of the team with over 100,000 points. What a crazy, crazy amount. On the red team, we have 6 people with 100,000 points, and I'm assuming everybody's above the 10, right? Yeah, that sounds about right. A little bit more damage indeed for the blue team. Red team pick up an arc. Hooray! Good arc at the end. I can never watch in-game. I reserve a spot. Yeah, that does happen, Mr. Gray. That's why we're here, though. They used all 10 points. Yeah. War drums, mystical formation, and to the death. Well, they kind of needed to, right? But, I mean, even grabbing this, where are they going to take the arc now? All the buildings are blue. I mean, there's blue presence all over the place. These guys can right now flank the life out of this arc. There are middle guys coming in to grab their buildings back. And, I mean, the arc is marching its way there, but 16,000 point differential, and it's growing for the team in blue, who are now a painful struggle. What is this? 790 points every single minute for the team in blue. So let me show you an example. Even if this Ark is indeed delivered successful, where is the Ark? Where is the Ark carrier? Even if the Ark is indeed successfully carried, 2 minutes and 38 seconds, okay, to wherever it's going right now. That means that another 1,500, 1,600, even not more than that points are going to go to the blue team before this Ark even makes it there. So this is what I was talking about owning the points per minute before you own the Ark. Because the Ark carrier is going to take his time marching, and in that time, guess what? The team in blue is still gaining more points. And so, overall, a very clean performance by 60GT. Really, textbook. It's everything we expected out of a high-level Ark of Osiris match. The guys in blue managed to recognize where the weaknesses are. They strike first. They maintain their own, they maintain their own timing the whole time. And they never allowed the red team to gain momentum at any point. How strong are you in game? My big account is down now to 76 mil after being at 96 mil. We lost 20 million power in the fights the last 2 days in KVK. And we have another account that is in 2070, and it's 76 million power too. Curiously enough. The big account is about to get weaker than the small account again, which is kind of funny. PX34 trying to get their own building back. I mean, 6 minutes remaining in the match. Even provisioners are going to start coming in and making this massive. The red team are just taking their time. 1 minute and 15 seconds until they make it into this city back to try to save face and get those 4,000 points. Not going to work too well. 60GT is UCS? Kinda. 60GT was 60GT, but that's the kingdom that Governor is king of. And when they won Osiris League, a bunch of UCS migrated to 60GT and are now playing on the team for the Osiris League Grand Finals. So a bunch of folks who fought in the regular season were benched, and folks from Kingdom 2 came in here to play in this event, essentially, from my understanding. This will also mean that the folks who are playing in here from K2 are going to get the rewards and the skin and all that good stuff. So playing in these events is extremely beneficial. If you can have a way, kind of like UCS did, having the point where, you know, like you have a team that has won Osiris League in a different realm that you can go to play the event. Kind of sketchy, but if you can do that, that's like insane rewards. That skin, exclusive, very important, very, very, very good skin coming in for this grand finals. And for me as a garrison captain, one of my main advantages was the fact that I have a skin that is from season 2, which is 10% infantry defense. What's my opinion on the benching? No opinion. Blue, no opinion. To each their own. To each their own. You know, as much as would I like that to happen? No. That almost happened to me. That did almost happen to me. I got benched, and then they realized that benching me was not smart, but they did. After a regular season that was pretty much doing everything, they brought a bunch of people in the playoffs, and I got benched for I think a match, and then they realized that's probably not a good idea. I was not happy about it. I was not happy about it. Let's put it this way. But obviously, they must strike a good deal. I mean, what kind of good deal you can strike with someone you benched? I'm going to give you 200 billion resources in exchange for you to be happy? Think VIP has an effect in Ark of Osiris, this Ark of Osiris? It does. It does. VIP 18. More marches. Bigger capacity. I'm a whale? No, I'm not. I'm a baby dolphin. We will call it that. VIP 18 is the different maker in this match, in my opinion. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. At an even playing field in VIP, 60GT is playing 10 times better than PX34 did this match. 60GT went from losing their Desert Altar in the first few minutes to making a comeback and owning the buildings game throughout the whole match. I wouldn't say that it's the difference maker. I would say that it is one of the differences in between these two teams, but I don't think it's as influential as you might think. I think that it's all a matter of being able to time it correctly. And again, the timings is all about being able to win. And I understand that having VIP 18 means you have bigger marches, which means you're going to win quicker or something like that. It's still, isn't it like 5% troop cap? I think it's 10% troop cap. When do you think this ridiculous farm bots will be stopped by Lilith even doing anything about it? Jeff, Lilith have been doing things about it all the time. All the time. But you can't stop farm bots. You just can't. You just can't. It's once a farm bot is enabled and it works, it ain't going anywhere. Ever. Because you just can't catch it. Heck, companies like freaking, I forget the name of the publisher of Warzone. Call of Duty Warzone. Remember that game? Very, very big Call of Duty game. Yeah, it has cheaters like crazy and they just can't get a hold of it. It's the same concept. It's impossible to stop the provisioning, the farming bots. Is it already 10? So I did not remember if it's 10 and goes to 15 or if it's 5 and goes to 15. If it's 5%, even worse. The match was so close. I personally think JST could have won if they had the same VIP 18 as 60 GT. Maybe. I think we are assuming a lot, right? I think we are assuming a lot. Because maybe 60 GT have better VIP 18, but JST had better command equipment, I guess, even though equipment didn't count, so I guess that's the thing. We don't really know. I can see that point, and I can even agree with you that maybe that was the big difference. That in that particular match, it was a very big difference, maybe. But again, we don't know this, right? We don't know. There's a lot of factors. When you play Ark, you have no idea how much experienced Ark players are different than non-experienced Ark players. And so, if you ask me, the difference between 60 GT and JST is experience. The folks that came in there from UCS in particular were what made JST lose, essentially. With that being said, UCS should have won against JST. How funny would it be if it was UCS against 60 GT? Like, that's awkward. Getting the obelisk 7 seconds sooner is huge. I don't know if it's huge, but it is. It's a big advantage. It is a big advantage. You can come back from it for sure, but it is a big advantage. I will agree with you on that. That means for 7 seconds there are easily like 25 marches more on the field. But again, the question is where those 25 marches are headed, right? If those 25 marches are headed towards the enemy's building and then the enemy teleports, those 7 seconds are not that important. However, if the marches stay closer, then those 7 seconds are huge. GG's, chat, let's get a spam of GG's in the air for the folks in 60 GT taking game 1 and PX34 having to go back to the board and figuring out what on earth they did wrong. I can gladly tell them what they did wrong, but I'm pretty sure they are already aware of it and they know exactly how to fix it for the next match, which is coming next week. If you look at the results really quickly, you will see everything you need to see. Provisioning, a little bit slightly better for 60 GT, but the provisioner score for both teams are not amazing. The total kills tell you a huge story. And also the units healed. The total kills means that the damage that was done was tremendously bigger by the team in blue, which is obvious because they took more buildings. They occupied, as a matter of fact, 5 more times, I guess, than the team in red. It might seem like there was a lot more than that, but the team in red occupied outposts quite a bit, which is how this is as it is. 9 million heals for the folks in PX34 isn't that bad, but also isn't that good. Trouble. It means that they're running out of troops, which is not very good. That is also something that can be a very big offset. Remember that 960s have some huge players with a lot of troops in them. Chat again if you enjoyed the stream. Don't forget to slap a like on the stream before you leave. A bunch of you are leaving. I appreciate you for picking us today for this cast. And I appreciate all of you also who GG'd in the chat. It's always nice to see the sportsmanship of our community, regardless of, of winner or loser. It's always nice to see the sportsmanship. Go back to the table, PX34, breathe, everything's okay. You can still win this grand final. However, 3 things need to change. Number 1, gotta get more sieging on buildings. That early take, they lost their buildings in the early stage and didn't take any buildings in return. And that middle in the beginning was awful. You can't have an even building game if you can't win a middle. And you knew that the folks in 90 and 60 GT are nasty. So for the team in PX34, they have to be in the points per minute lead before that first arc in order to be able to start the game properly. Next thing is, even if you go down in the lead, breathe. Everything's okay. Those who are experienced in that team, I know for a fact they were maintaining composure. But some of those players out there, and you guys in PX34 are welcome to tell me, hey, you are completely wrong. But I'm pretty sure I was right that there's at least 1 or 2 people who tilted in that voice chat right there. And so those players need to realize that even it's hard not to tilt. I tilt a lot in matches we lose, by the way. A lot of us do, including folks in 401, including huge strategic players, some of the best players in 401, in JWM, in UCS, in heck, even Governor tilted off when they played against JST. It's not easy to compose. I understand. But that's a very important point that we don't see on the field necessarily. But when there are specific things I see in the timings and how they're launching things that tell me that the communication had a little bit of a issue there. And the last and final thing is, I mean, if you're not going to win middle, you're going to have to win provisions and occupation score. You cannot lose. Even 500-point loss in the provisions is huge. You cannot be losing in the provisions if you're not going to be able to offset, because those provisions could have offset the 2,500 points that Ark got, but they're definitely not going to offset those 13,000 point lead in the occupation score. Can you talk about the 3-hour rally from 412 on 1 flag with Pakal? I heard about it. I understood that it happened last night. I saw Chisco got very lucky from what I saw, and they did it while he was streaming, so it was there for like 3 hours. I was not amazed by what I saw. If you guys saw the report at the very end, the difference between the garrison and the rally was not that big. And remember that the guys who swarmed the building, I had it from the offense perspective, not from the defense perspective. But remember how much 412 swarmed the life out of that flag. So when you look at that report, it's not as impressive. Yes, at the end of it, Pakal did end up positively trading a little bit, but the swarm deads that we didn't see probably offset that garrison change. So I don't know, man. It's not going to be very. My opinion on Pakal is to be determined. We still need to see more. But so far, all of this, he's gonna break Zenobia. I still think that he didn't load up on the defense tree on Pakal. That's fine. Again, this is why I said so far there's still a lot to come for these commanders. And the one thing that really kind of annoyed me is that people are like looking for an answer on day one, right? And it's not going to come in day one. You're going to have to wait for a couple of extra rallies, see how the defense does, see, maybe the garrison had tremendous tech, which the attacker doesn't. In this particular scenario, it could have been backwards. It could have been that the garrison was bad compared to there's so much more. I think Xeno is here to stay too, Neo. I definitely think Xeno will remain. As Xeno garrison meta will remain. And I'll tell you what the worst part of Pakal is. Pakal is not strong enough to offset using infantry both for garrison and for rallies. If you're going to start using infantry both for garrison and for rallies, you're going to get wrecked. The difference in kills that you're doing in the garrison to the garrison is just not good. Can you show us the report? I don't have the report. If any of you have it and want to send it to me, we can take a look at it, but I don't have it. I looked at a couple of screenshots that people sent me. I don't have the actual report. But again, I don't need to see much. I looked at the video a little bit, and I saw a couple of swarms that happened. Baba swarmed like 3 times, 5 marches. A bunch of these guys swarmed a bunch of times and lost a ton of troops. I think Baba lost like 1 million troops last night dead from that. So, I send it to you. Ooh, let me see. Well, Yeah, whatever. You guys can see that. Doesn't really matter. Bam. Oh, Devil, do me a favor. Type anything. Send another message. I need the report to go up one message because the chat is stupid and it's bugged. So do me a favor. Just type anything. Send another dot or whatever it is. You guys are seeing yourselves. You guys are seeing yourselves. I know. Man, we didn't hit that 1,000 viewers. We maybe one day we will. Just one more dot, just so the message goes up. One thing, because I can't click on the lowest message because the stupid chat bug. Which I don't know why Lilith haven't fixed. I begged them to fix it. Do-do-do. Come on. Yeah, you're in a little bit of a delay. It happens. But you know what happened today was pretty funny. In the meantime, UAE got rallied a couple of times. And let's just say that you don't want to rally them, man. You really don't want to rally them, man. Blech. You definitely don't want to rally them, man. You guys are typing dot in the chat. I meant in-game chat. The in-game dot. Thank you. Yeah, he typed it. Perfect. It went up. Sweet. Here we go. Here's the report. Bam. Disclaimer, this report is from the offense, not from the defense. So it will not show all the swarms on the flag, okay? Just an FYI. Holy moly, oh boy. So this is the report. This is the thing, right? And so, few things that we need to talk about. 200,000 deads on the garrison more is nothing. I can promise you, Baba alone had more deads from the swarms, okay? Baba alone had more deads than the 200k deads from the swarms, okay? So that's one thing. There are indeed severely woundeds all over the place, and there's going to be a lot of them. So that also doesn't count in the report, which does count in favor of the attack. You can see counter rallies were coming in any shape or form possible, but they were just not getting the job done. Either people joining, getting in the flag and getting AoE'd, passing by, getting it's like a bunch of different things happening here. So you see a ton of severely wounded still being done, and there should be more rallies in here, right? This looks to be like a rally. There should be more counter rallies happening in here. Quite a lot of them. I mean, this report is very, very, very long, but this is not, again, that was the first report. There were two. Okay. Okay. That was the first hour. Did they still split it by hour? No. This is a 2 hour and 48 minutes. So this is one rally. There's no two reports. There was another rally, maybe. There was another double, maybe, somewhere in there. Or there was a double rally, I guess, and there's a second report as well. Is that what you're telling me? That there were double rallies? It's 17 million deads for both. Yeah, it's fairly even. The captain was bumped out. That's another problem. It's going to make it a little bit easier for the folks in 412. Again, for the record, I'm not trying to even go close to disrespecting the team in 412 because they did crazy stuff. Go down. Where? We're going to go down for hours. What am I looking for, chat? Because I'm not going to scroll through all of this. There's 2 hours and 48 minutes worth of every single hit, including people who did like small marches just to cause debuffs and whatever the heck not. But what are we looking for down here? We'll also look at the stats of the attack and the... Okay. This still looks even to me. This still looks even to me. As a matter of fact, Pakal took more deads in here. So it even ended up in the favor of the defense at the end of all of this. That's wild. This is wild. I wish I had some footage of this so I can make an awesome video about it. But y'all decide to do this at 4 a.m. my time. I was awake, but I wasn't paying it. If I knew this was going on, I might have recorded and stayed up all night. Yes, we're going to look at the truth buffs in a sec. But I was trying to kind of look through this. Again, I don't know whether that was the garrison. What are we looking for? Well, I mean, we'll find it, right? But I didn't know it was this big. God damn. Well, we found it, right? That has to be a bug. What has to be a bug? That the Atel Takeda are there? No, it's not. It's not a bug. Atel Takeda wasn't there. The bug is in the report and the way it chooses who the garrison captain was. 209 attack, 200 defense, 97.5% health. Oh my goodness gracious. This man's got some attack on him in defense. God, good lord. And still with all of this Zenobia held, I want to see what that Xeno had. I want to see what the Xeno had. It was Xeno YSS, yeah. Yeah. So with a Xeno YSS, oh, here's an interesting thing. Here's an interesting thing. Because of the change between Atel Takeda or Zenobia and Yi Sun-sin, the defense, the infantry defense actually went technically up for the rally in the moment that report was made. So it was actually like this most of the time. Still, more a decent amount more attack. What is that? 10, 25%, 26% more attack, but 10% less defense and, well, more health for the attack. That's, I mean, this is a very, very strong hold. Very strong hold. Curiously enough, somehow the counterattack damage is lower, but that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, the talent tree doesn't look too pretty here. I'm pretty confident, again, as you said, if you load up on a defense tree, that's crazy. What a crazy report. What a crazy report. Defense reduction? Looks like it. You should drink water. I should. I really should. But what I really should do is once more ask you, if you haven't done that yet, make sure you drop a like on the stream. Hit that subscribe down below. For the record, our fights in this KVK, since we're still alive, might as well give you a quick update. Yeah, they're pretty much done. 636 are out. The folks in 253 are out. 636 are kind of still here, kind of, but not really. And when that that fort burns, they're out of here. And I mean, fair play. Amazing fights. It was fantastic. It was a great fight with them. I actually really, really, really liked the fights with the folks. What the heck? The delay on the pickup? I'm guessing it's for to move reporter rewards around or something like that. I don't know. So yeah, we managed to push everybody back. Now we got like 3-4 forts to burn and a couple of other pieces of territory, and that's about that. And this zone is secured until the next confrontation. And just like that. Does Atel Takeda hold well against infantry? For garrison? That was a bug. That was definitely not there. Did very well, and the streams were fun to watch. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Ahmad Aziz got all special talent equipment except for the gloves. Yeah, I know. He's kind of crazy. He's kind of crazy. I've seen his gear. I'm doing more Pokemon video pack opening. Yes, Pascal. I actually have 6 or 7 videos on queue. I'm dumb. I'm just not, I'm dumb. You're not wrong there. There's a video coming out today, and there's going to be 3 a week, hopefully from here on out, and some Pokemon Uniter is coming out as well. When are you training more troops? I don't know. I am on the fence of whether or not I want to do the event that's going on right now. I'm on the fence if I want to do the event that's going on right now. If I train what I want to train, which is about 500,000 troops, then T5s, then I would end up here in 4th place right now. And then I just keep doing what we got to do, right? I don't know when we're training more troops. We definitely have to, or else it's going to be a problem. Are you allied with 412? We are. Yeah. We are. All right, boys and girls. For the sake of this VOD, we're going to call it quits here. Again, I appreciate listening to you who dropped a like on the stream. Subscribe down below. Join our Discord, which is down below as well. Discord.gg/Gecko Gaming. We are partnered with Discord and waiting for our we have a hoodie coming in the mail any day now. On top of that, if you're into other stuff and you want to support the channel even further, we got a couple of other channels we're trying to maintain. Galactic Gecko for Infinite Galaxy and Pokegecko for Pokemon stuff. If you want to help out the channel, help out the brand, help me a little bit more. Drop some subs, drop some likes on those channels. We need to get to that 1,000 subs somehow on both channels, so get cracking. I know you guys can do it. 401 already locked 2 kingdoms. First Imperium and already another round. Damn, oh, so far so good. Nobody's locked in just yet. They got the passes. They can always come back out. Chat, thank you again for all your continued support. I appreciate it seeing you again. Take care. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll be back tomorrow with another video of Rise of Kingdoms. And of course, streaming Wednesday. We'll be streaming any war that happens if there's wars happening. Yeah. Take care. Have a great rest of your weekend. Stay safe. And again, thank you for all your kind support. We almost hit 1,000 viewers, concurrent viewers this stream, which is amazing for me. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart for choosing me. Peace. See ya.